All right, guys, welcome back to step 5 in the series, Start Wholesaling Houses Now. All right, so in this one, now we are going to start marketing, getting set up. This is about cold calling, all right? So step 5 is cold calling, and you know I have part 1, if you notice right here, because what we're gonna do, we're breaking this step up into 2 parts. All right, so in this first part, I'm gonna actually take you onto my computer, and I'm gonna show you how to set up and get ready to start doing this, right? And it's gonna be a little bit of a lengthy video because I wanna make sure that I specifically tell you exactly what to do. That way you know exactly what to do, and there's no excuses, just action, all right? So in part 2 though, I'm gonna give you something really, really cool, which is an actual script for free of what to say, all right? So what does your voicemail sound like when you leave a voicemail? What are you gonna say to the seller when you cold call them and they answer the phone? What information are you gonna gather? How are you gonna start overcoming the objections and ultimately get the deal signed, right? And get a contract. So I didn't wanna make this step, you know, just one part in freaking 2 hours long, all right? So I wanna make sure that I give you just fast, actionable steps to get results quickly, all right? So that's what we're doing here. So we're about to go in there now, and I'm gonna set up the expectations for you and show you how to set up CallRail, all right? So this is what I suggest that you use starting out if you're on a lower budget, all right? I also talk about Mojo on there, which is a single and triple line dialer. That's a little bit more expensive. That's $100 a month. CallRail is $30. We use CallRail in our business every day. It's really, really cool because you can create multiple different tracking numbers and track each one of your lists and your campaigns, because you want to do that, right? You want to see where you're getting your results from, which lists are bringing you the best ROI, where are you getting your deals at, right? So this is like the entry level point to that. This isn't going to be the very high level, like have a team and, you know, all the other shiny objects out there. Remember, guys, I'm keeping this very, very just granular, to the point, fast steps to get you there, and trying to prevent you from spending a lot of money right out of the gate. Now, if budget isn't as much of an option, I suggest that you go ahead and upgrade to Mojo Sales. If budget is an option, then just start with CallRail, right? Because you can call people, boom, boom, boom. That, at the end of the day, that's what you're here to do, right? They both get the job done as far as calling. We actually use a more expensive advanced dialer because, you know, there's a team involved and all that other stuff. You don't need that, all right? So I'm gonna show you how to set up CallRail to start cold calling, and then you check out that video right now. Guys, all right, so we're gonna get in here to CallRail again. This is what I'm suggesting that you start out with, okay? So remember, this is all about taking action, getting results as fast as possible. Excuse me, I'm trying to create and minimize, you know, the least amount of friction as possible. I'm going to show you another option as well that you could use. This is a lower budgeted one. I think CallRail is about $30 a month to start. Then you can also look at another one, which is Mojo. That one's $99, but that's like an actual dialer for cold calling. So if you're not, you know, budget conscious right now and you have the extra money, I suggest that you use Mojo, and I can always do a follow-up video on that as well. I'll show you what I'm talking about. We use Call Tools, which is like a very advanced 10-line dialer. It's quite a bit more expensive, and all that stuff is shiny objects to you right now because it just doesn't matter. You can use something as simple as CallRail to get going to where you can be calling people. And, you know, the big idea behind CallRail is, again, you're not letting people call, you know, you're not calling people directly with your cell phone number, right? So they'll be calling you. You're not giving out your cell phone number to everyone, and you don't want that, right? So you can. This is a great way to prevent that, and it'll help keep track of your leads at least somewhat in the beginning, and that'll help you out tremendously. So this is going to be. I'm breaking this particular step on cold calling into 2 different parts. This first part is going to be really based on getting you set up, getting you ready to go. The second part is actually going to be me giving you, by the way, a free script, a really awesome script that you guys will be able to use. I'm going to tell you exactly what to say when you make the call, the information. We're even going to go over overcoming objections. Guys, this is, when I say I'm going to give you what you need to actually go out there and do this stuff, like, I am not joking. I'm going to give you a lot of stuff for free. And I do have something really, really exciting coming up for you guys that is going to be literally the most in-depth all right, wholesaling course on getting started and getting consistent results. That, guys, I know what's out there. This thing is just going to be crazy. So don't get me wrong though, I'm going to give you everything you guys need for free to get the results. But, you know, if you really, really want to take it to that next level, and, you know, we get into all the really granular stuff, I'm going to be releasing that over the next couple weeks. And guys, and by the way, I'm going to charge a ridiculous price for it. Okay. When I say ridiculous, I'm not going to go out there and charge you, even though it is well worth, you know, $897, $1,000, you know, any of that. It's well worth that money. I'm going to charge you a fraction of that. It's going to be barely anything. And, you know, the whole idea behind that is, guys, I'm not trying to be one of those people that goes out here and charges you a crazy amount of money for a course, right? That, being realistic, like, even though a lot of them are worth it, mine would be worth it. I'm not saying that they're not, right? Because of all the time, effort, money, experience, like all the, you know, time that we've put into this business to understand it and be able to give you this information. But because I want to make sure you have the money to go out there and market, right? And actually do the business. And I understand that a lot of you starting out, you know, you don't have a ton of money to go out there, and by the time you buy a really expensive course, you might not have the money to actually go out there and do the business, right? Or spend any money on marketing. So that's what I'm trying to prevent. I truly, truly want to help each and every one of you. I want you to know that. So let's get into CallRail. So what you do to set this up, I'm just logged into one of my, so we have a ton of accounts in here. I'm just in one of my, like, just little, you know, sub accounts, but we're going to go to main CallRail, right? And this is after you've signed up and, you know, you're signing in. Okay, so then you're going to go to, I think it's in settings actually. Let me see, create, all right, tracking phone number. All right, so you're going to use it offline. Okay, so what I would do is, for you guys, maybe just call it cold calling one. If you wanted to set up different numbers for your different list, I actually suggest that you do that, right? So whatever that particular list is that you're calling, you can do cold calling, whatever that list is. Forward to calls, this is going to be your phone number, probably going to be your cell phone or a landline that you're going to use. I just put a number in there. I'm not going to actually set this up. So I always like to look for numbers with repeating digits, okay? That is my preference. And what you can do, a little CallRail hack here. So you see how it only gives you this many? You can actually do this right here. Choose an area code, and I'll choose the same exact area code, okay? It'll give me different results, right? You see that? Which is really cool, right? So try to find ones with good repeating digits. Then we're just going to pick this one for the sake of time. Move on. Whisper message. So what that would be is, it's whatever you put in there as the name, right, for that phone number, for your tracking number. It'll say, hey, you have a call from yada, 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 right? Boom. You want that. That way you know, especially if your cell phone, this is someone calling you that's on your list. And then you hit 1 and you start. All right, so this is up to you. Right, this is up to you right here. This is the call recording. Check, you know, legally in your state what you can do, and then you would activate this number. All right, so I'm not going to activate it because I don't need that number. But now we're going to go to where you would actually call them, which would be, I believe, lead center. That's where you would go. Don't know why it's taking forever. Okay, so here we are. So this is what the lead center looks like, right? Tracking number, it tells you what number it is, the initial source, like some just cool baseline stuff. The voicemail will be right here. The call recording, if you have call recording set up, which you should be on here. But again, just make sure that you check with your area. We record ours. And then you have text over here. You can even text in here if you want to do that, right? So anyway, let's get back to it. So let's just say now you're going to call somebody, right? So see down here, you got this little phone. All right, then you're going to place an outbound call. All right, so then this would be your number or whatever that you know what I mean, the call is going to. Okay, so this would be your cell phone or a landline. Then you're going to pick whatever number
you know, that you're calling for that particular list, your tracking number like we just created. And this is where your customer number is going to go. All right, so we always do record call. And then we would click that, begin the call, and what will happen is it'll actually call you, okay, CallRail will, and let you know with the whisper message, hey, you know, if you want to be connected to yada, 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 boom. You hit 1, connects you to the call, and now you are actually ringing the seller, and it will show your tracking number as on their caller ID. So you didn't actually call from your number. And then all your voicemails and stuff will come in here. And what's cool is, so you can qualify them right here. Okay, so qualified, disqualify. And again, guys, we're going to go much, much deeper into a lot of this stuff, you know, in the second part in this step, right? So this is step 5. We're going to do 2 parts for step 5 because there's a lot of stuff that I want you to know, and I don't want to, you know, make this an hour or so video. That what I find is it's easier just to give you a little bit more granular, broken down steps, get you set up with everything you need here. Then I'm going to give you the script in the next step and tell you, go over exactly what to say, how to overcome some objections, and hopefully start getting and locking up some deals. So tags, right? You can even mark it if you converted someone, if it's an opportunity, if it's, you know, unanswered. And then what I would do is create new tags here. Okay, so I create new ones, and I would create hot lead, okay, not motivated lead, and then I would create follow-up, which would also, you know, could be considered a nurture, okay? And then what's going to happen is on the hot leads, that is someone that is willing to sell in the next 3 months to you, okay? So anyone that is willing to sell in the next 3 months is going to be considered a hot lead, and we're going to talk about how to follow up with them, all that stuff, guys. We will be getting into all of it. And then a not motivated is someone that would potentially be willing to sell in the next year or 2, right? And then the follow-up is more the nurture, is what we categorize as someone that's like, I have no interest in selling whatsoever. Well, guess what? We're still going to follow up with them as well, right? So anyway, that's what I would do, at least create those, and then also create a dead, right? So create a tag called dead, and then that way you can tag it. If it's like someone that calls and, you know, like threatens violence, or, you know, something like just crazy, or you know, someone that is just extremely irate, unreasonable, and saying outlandish things, then you can mark them as dead. Or if someone has actually sold that property and closed on it, and sold it to someone else, you can mark them as dead as well. And then right here you can put in some notes, okay, just some quick notes to remind you of what's going on with that. And again, guys, like, we'll get into how to get, you know, follow up with all these people and everything on another one. But this is a good baseline for you to get started using CallRail to call, right? Like, you don't need all these fancy dialers and stuff like that when you're getting started. You just really don't. So we'll just go to mojosales.com, and I'll show you. This is the one dialer I was telling you about. This one's, I think, $99 if you go to pricing. All right, so a single line dialer is $99 per license. I believe CallRail is about $30. Okay, so it is completely up to you which one you want to start using. But I mean, again, I suggest that you use CallRail. Now, the thing about CallRail though, you only get so many minutes, okay, and it can start ticking up on you. So when that happens and it starts ticking up and it starts getting around this price right here, then you might as well just, you know, start switching over. Because this has a lot more features than CallRail as far as for where you are actually cold calling. And you can see make up to 300 calls per hour. Like, it's just got a lot of cool analytics and data and just, you know, all kinds of cool stuff in there. I don't suggest that you get your data out of here though. Okay, so do not do that. Still get your data from REI Automator, because this data is nowhere near as accurate, but the system itself, the tool, is really what we're talking about. So don't get sucked into all the crazy upsells they try to hit you with, because at the end of the day, that's just, you know, shiny objects, right? Those are just shiny objects that are going to distract you and take your attention away from actually getting this freaking done, and getting some deals. So this is Mojo Sells. We use Call Tools. That is a much more advanced, sophisticated, and, you know, expensive dialer. But guys, that's stuff like when you have a team, or, you know, you don't need that stuff right now. So start out with CallRail. Then if you start ticking up to that price, get on here. and do that. And then in the next one, all right, we're about to go back to me to wrap this up. But on the next one, we'll be going into actually, I'm going to give you a script for free, 100% free, no strings attached. That's going to tell you what to say, what information to get from them, how to lead the call. It's going to go into all that stuff. Then after that, we're going to go into overcoming a lot of the objections that you're going to get. Then we're going to go into text marketing, what that looks like. And then we're going to go into locking up a freaking deal. Okay, so I want to make sure you have just enough, just exactly what you need to not get distracted and take fast action. All right, so tracking. This is where your numbers are going to be. Okay, so the numbers that you create for your list, that way you can track each and every one of them, right? And that way you know, right? So if you're calling a specific list, you want to have a number for that list. That way you know, guess what? What's the ROI on that list, okay? Like this is the stuff, so this is very entry level style of this, right? But we'll get deeper into this further, but at least at a minimum, you're doing that, okay? So now you have that, then you're gonna go over here, and so you're gonna go to call flows. We're gonna look at this existing one I have right here, okay? So there's a way to do this too, by the way. If this is going to your phone number, your personal phone number, which obviously I'm sure it is, that you can create two different call flows, okay, and then turn this one off. That is the one that actually rings your phone and all that good stuff, and goes to voicemail after that. Instead, you could actually just have it go straight to voicemail if you're one of those people that don't want people calling you, later in the night. In the beginning, though, I highly suggest if you're serious about doing this, and if you're working part-time, you're working in the evenings, that you just let it go. Okay, if someone's willing to call you and talk about doing business with you, you do not need to let that go. That could be a person that's, it's 9 or 10 at night, and, they're really stuff starting to set in on their situation and what's going on. And, they're fearful for what happens if they don't do anything about this, right? And then they're, hey, that person called me earlier. They left a voicemail and, they wanted to, help me with this. Let me just give them a call and see. You know what I mean? And then in that moment, they make that call and then it goes straight to voicemail. Guess what? They'll probably call one of the other 20 people or whatever, depending on where you are, that could have reached out to them in the last, couple months or whatever. So a lot of this is time and circumstance, guys. Like there was a time where a lot of people were teaching, hey, just let your calls go to voicemail, right? Like, oh, I just let them all go to voicemail and I call them back. I would never, ever, ever tell you to do that. You want to answer that phone live as much as you possibly can. I highly suggest that, and trust me, it will, guys, just that alone. Okay, so don't fall into that trap. You could call the call flows whatever you want. You can say for that particular campaign, whatever it is. But then all you do is make sure you record the calls, and then check for your state. It'll tell you in all the disclosures right here whether or not you're allowed to do that. We always do it, right? Especially for training purposes. You start building out a team, you want these calls, right? Especially the ones that go really well. And guess what? You don't know when that's going to happen typically, so you want to record them all. That way you have them, right? Then also people like me or whoever is your coach can go through there potentially and help you with that as well. So there's just so much value in doing it. All right. Then you would insert a step here, dial. This is where the number is going. So this is your number. That's what you're going to put in here. Okay. So you can also prevent voicemails and automated systems from answering a call. But again, we have a voicemail right here. So what this means though is if you had like a landline, okay? So if you had a landline and you had a voicemail set up for that landline, then you're using that landline. This is going to prevent from picking up your landline voicemail, not the voicemail that you're adding in here. And then we do 15 seconds. If the destination does not answer within 15 seconds, go to the next step. So if call is not answered, we insert a step here. That is a voicemail. Okay, so you can change this recording right here. What I suggest you do is go to download Voice Record Pro. That's what I have. I mean, I have an iPhone, so I'm sure they also have it on Android as well. Voice Record Pro. I can even have Matt throw it up here, what the app looks like, a picture of it. So we use that, and we just record a nice, voicemail. And depending on what messaging you're on, to what list, you can always modify this. So what you could do, guys, is you just keep it very, very simple. You would say, hey, this is James with so-and-so home buyers. Thanks so much for your call. Either I'm on the other line helping another customer, or I'm out of the office. If you would please leave your name, your best phone number, best time to call you back, and the property that you are calling about, and I will give you a call back as soon as possible. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. All right, so, and you don't have to verbatim that. I'm just saying it could be as simple as that. It could be shorter, but you also do want it to sound professional, right? So they're not calling Joe Blow that's like the home buyer. It's like, hey, this is Ron, give me a call back when you get a chance. Or you know what I mean, or whatever. I'll call you back when I can't. None of that kind of stuff, guys. Like, make it professional, okay? So I just want to make sure you see this part right here, and then you're going to add, okay? So whenever you go to your tracking right here, and you see your numbers, so forward calls to, and then you just put the call flow right in there that you want to do, and then the same, you could edit it, you know what I mean, every day at the end of the day. If you wanted to create 2 of them, one just goes to voicemail, whatever. You could do that if you wanted to. I don't suggest that you do. All right, but that is what is possible. So this is like the very basic entry level way to get you set up, to get you calling right away. Okay, that's a very inexpensive option. So I wanted to show you this, and now we're going to go back to the video, and then guys, just wait for the next step that's coming, part 2 in this step, where I start getting into what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, what information you're looking for, all that good stuff. So guys, make sure you drop me a like. I really, really appreciate it, all love, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss this series. It is going to be incredible. This is the fast action guide to getting you results fast.
All right, guys, so we're back. If you haven't already, make sure you drop me a like, and make sure you subscribe, please. Please do that for me. You don't want to miss what's coming. So guys, getting back to this, right? So a couple things I want to go over with the cold calling. And remember, in this next part, in part 2 of step 5, I want to actually go into what to say, give you the script, all that stuff. But here's just a quick overview of some points that I want you thinking about now while you're setting this up and you get going, that you really need to know and understand, okay? And I will help you with them. So consistency equals results. Remember, you are not going to have success at this if you pick up the phone once or twice a week and then you call a few people. Guys, the expectation is this: you should be targeting to call. If let's just say you're part-time, you should be striving to at least call 100 to 200 people a day, okay? If you want to get results fast, all right? So as many people as you can possibly call. It's going to take you some calls to get results, all right? This isn't just going to, now, don't get me wrong, you could literally pick up the phone. I know it's crazy, it's happened before. The odds of it are probably 1,000,001. You can pick up the phone, call the first person, you might have a really good seller on the phone. That is probably not likely. I got to be real with you. So it is consistency. You need to build a routine every day where you are doing this, all right? Especially if you're like, still in school or something, like hit this hard. Consistent action will lead to consistent checks, all right? Making money. That's what we're talking about. No excuses, okay? No excuses. I don't want to hear it. There is no such thing as I don't have time, okay? If you want to make a difference in your life, you want to really do this business, we talked about it before, it's going to require that commitment, right? And I'm talking about a level of commitment that is, I'm going to do whatever it takes, just like it's a lifestyle, right? It's a lifestyle, baby. We're going to do whatever it takes to do whatever we want. We're going to put in the work, the effort, the hustle, and live a life like no one else has ever dreamed. That's what it's all about, okay? So no excuses. I don't want to hear it. You have time, all right? It's priorities, all right? If you are serious about this, you got to make the decision and a commitment now that you are going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. It is going to take work. I just got to be real with you on it, all right? So remember, when you're talking to these people, it's not personal. You're talking to a lot of people that are in potentially tough situations, distressed, if you pulled tax delinquent list. So stuff is typically going on in their life if they are interested in selling. You need to understand, if they get upset with you or anything like that, doesn't mean that they're not a real seller. They're not a viable lead, and you might not be able to do business with them. So don't take it personally. If they get upset, they cuss you out, whatever, that's fine. You know what? follow up with them later. All right, seriously guys, like you gotta have thick skin when you start doing this. I know it's a little bit of a grind starting out, but I'm gonna be giving you more and more on once you start going, what it looks like to start helping get other people, right? Like recruiting and leveraging other people to start doing this for you. All right, but starting out, it's very good for you to do it because you're going to learn so much about talking to sellers, building rapport, all this stuff that is very important to understand in the business, for longevity purposes, right? So, and to help build your team and train your team, all that stuff. So it's awesome when you can do this. A lot of us, I know I started out doing a lot of this, guys, and it made me so much better long term, right? And I'm thankful that I started out in that little bit of a grind in doing this, but never take it personal. Have thick skin. Remember, people are in tough situations, and if you carry that when you're on the phone into your next call, that's going to hurt you, right? So you got to wipe your mind clear. Every time you hang up that phone, right, unless you're on a high of just locking up a contract, right, you want to keep that with you. But if it comes down to actually, you had a really rough call, take a quick second, take a deep breath, pause, reset it, start the next call fresh. That person that you're about to call, remember, you're already interrupting their day, and it is not their fault what happened on your last call, okay? So you cannot carry that with you, guys. It'll make this so much more difficult. Just wipe it out of your mind and move on to the next call. All right, so confidence is key, all right? So they gotta believe that you are the best option. So that means you need to believe you're the best option to convey that to them, because guess what? If you don't believe it, they won't believe it. Okay, and a lot of this, you'll get better at this with the overcoming objections step once we get into that, because that'll help you know a lot more about what to say when they come at you with questions or kind of try to catch you off guard or test you. You'll know what to say, and you'll be able to say that confidently. Okay, rapport. You got to build rapport. All right, so people like themselves. All right, that is very important to understand. So you need to relate to them in some kind of way, right? As you're talking to them, you're extracting information out of them. Whatever they're saying, you're consuming, you're listening, right? And you're taking pieces of that. How can I relate to that in some way? And that might require you asking, some kind of strategic question in order to get that information out of them if they haven't yet, right? So it's like, let's just say you're local, right? And right now we have the coronavirus going on. Okay, and obviously all the sports are getting pretty much canceled or suspended, and it's like, it could be, hey, what about this basketball team or the NBA? This is crazy, and see if they even like that. So you might have to throw something out there, right? Depending on the person, if they're not giving you a lot. But there's always a way to build rapport and relate to somebody, and that is key when you're on the phone, especially cold calling, right? Because they don't know you from Adam. You are building credibility with them, and they need to trust you. So part of that is building rapport and genuinely caring about helping them and solving their problem. That is, guys, above everything else, right? That is really what you are here to do. All right, you got to understand that you are serving them. You're here to solve their problem. You're here to do business with them and help them in some way. And in return, with that value that you're bringing, you are getting compensated for it, right? By that wholesale fee. So find the problem and solve it. All right, so once you're building that rapport, it's all about asking strategic questions. We're going to talk about those questions in the next part, but you are going to be asking them strategic questions to get answers out of them, what the real problem is, because a lot of people won't just come out and tell you, right? Because then that, to them, that's exposing their weakness. Okay, so whatever that is, they're going to hold that close because they think that you're there to take advantage of them. That's why it's so important to build the rapport, the trust, the credibility, so they feel like they can open up to you, you genuinely care, and that you can really solve their problem, okay? Which you can, because I'm going to show you how to solve their problem. All right, so you need to be confident in your ability to do that, and that is always the goal. You don't go into these, all right, cold calling, any of these other marketing channels thinking, hey, how can I get one over on these people? How can I get their house at the lowest price possible? That is not what this business is about. And the people that talk like that are honestly the problem, that puts like a bad stigma on this business sometimes, right? And why some of the realtors don't really like this business, because you do have those just people out there that are all about themselves. Well, here's the real big picture for you right now, guys. And seriously, seriously, if you take nothing else away from this and you're not following the steps, at least do this if you are interested in this business. It is never about you. It is always about them. Do you want to make money? Do you want to change your life? Of course. And will it happen? Of course. If you are doing the business and you're doing it right, of course it will happen for you. But if you make it about serving and helping other people, I mean, I can't, make guarantees because of, earnings disclaimers and all that stuff. But what I can tell you is this: when we focused on them and not us more, put all their needs above ours, guess what? We started making more money because we were providing so much value. And you talk about beating out other competitors and offers and all that stuff. When you're doing it and you're approaching the business this way, there's no such thing as competition. Okay? There's no such thing as competition because you're going to provide more value than anyone else is providing in the marketplace to motivated sellers, to homeowners. So guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Remember, please like and subscribe. Part 2 of step 5 is coming up. We're about to release that in the next 2 days. Okay, so make sure you like and subscribe for that. Turn on the bell for notifications. Remember, it's a lifestyle. Doing whatever it takes to do whatever you want. And guys, don't forget, you can text me 786-686-0011. And if you haven't yet, make sure that you sign up for the free REI Automator 7-day trial. That link is down below, and you will need that. It is critical, even if you're not following these steps and doing the business through me. However you're doing it, guys, that is a critical piece of, a tool that you need in this business that will absolutely change the game for you. So I love you guys. I will see you on the next one. Peace.